I feel that most of us watching this video are dealing with hyperpigmentation under the arms, on our knees, on our elbows, maybe between the thighs, and maybe on our face. And if that is you, continue watching this video because I have solutions for you. Hi, my name is Fanny and I'm a braider and hairstylist in Los Angeles. So I made this short a little while ago showing you guys my hair transformation, and surprisingly more people were interested in my appearance transformation. And yes, I do know I changed a lot, but that'll probably be for another video. But what I found most interesting of all was this comment right here asking me about what I did for my hyperpigmentation. I did promise a video, so without further delay, here is that video. When I was younger, I used to have hyperpigmentation on my face, on my underarms, on my knees, and my elbows, which I feel like is really common for a lot of people with darker skin tones. Eventually, I was able to get rid of it. So in this video, I'm going to discuss what hyperpigmentation is, and what I did to try and get rid of it, and what worked, and the practical things that you can do to get rid of it as well. Hyperpigmentation, unfortunately, is a condition that affects a lot of us with darker skin tones, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But I know from personal experience, it can make you feel embarrassed and make you want to cover up. So my hope is that with this video, I can help someone along their journey and help them feel beautiful again, because I really do believe that getting rid of hyperpigmentation is a lot simpler than people like to make it to be. Before we get into this video, please pause this video and like and subscribe for more. The first thing that's important to discuss is understanding what hyperpigmentation is and what it's caused by, so that we know how to get rid of it. Hyperpigmentation is when there's an increase of melanin in an area of your skin or nails, which causes it to darken. It can be caused by things like sun exposure or skin irritation, or other things such as hormonal changes, genetics, vitamin D deficiency, or exposure to heavy metals. To get rid of hyperpigmentation, it's important to know the cause and then to know which areas are being affected. So I'm going to talk about the different areas that I was affected and what I did for those areas. So firstly, I want to talk about my face, because this was the biggest area that I feel everyone was commenting on. So what I had tried initially was I tried putting lemon in that area, and I also tried using these egg peels, which is just putting tissue paper with egg and letting it sit and then peeling it off. But none of that really worked. So what I had to find was the main cause of why that area was dark in the first place. And what I found was it was mostly due to sun exposure. And so I did two things that really helped that area get lighter again. So when I'm in the sun, I make sure that I'm using some form of shade to block that area. I use sunscreen, and I try to stay indoors as much as possible. So that's one, is being cognizant of the way that the sun is affecting your skin, because for me, it would tan it unevenly and it will lead to hyperpigmentation to that part. And number two, which I feel was the most helpful, was taking a razor and just shaving that area. And this wasn't really necessarily to remove the hair, because I didn't really have that much hair there at the time, and when I would shave that area, it was still a bit dark afterwards. It was mainly just a form of dermaplaning, and that is when you remove the dead cells on the surface of the skin, which over time lightens your skin. And so those were the two things that I did for my face that helped me out a lot. Next, I want to talk about the underarms, because I feel that this is an area that affects so many people, and I used to struggle with it a lot. Let me make it short. The main cause of your underarms being dark is usually two things. It's usually the deodorant you're using, or usually the fact that you're using a razor. I don't remember what YouTuber I got this from, but this one YouTuber recommended this wax right here. And this wax, I'll insert a picture of it, a better picture of it, and I'll insert a link in the comments. But this wax, I'm not sponsored by these people. This wax is made for coarse hair, and it's the most painless wax that I've ever tried. I've tried other forms of waxing and it gets really messy and it's really painful, but that wax is virtually painless. I recommend that wax to all my friends, and I've been using it for a couple of years now, and it works so well. And over time, after the first time you use it, you won't feel it after that. I will say one thing though, a little disclaimer, is the first time you use that wax, you may see a little blood. But I will say one thing though, is that wax compared to other waxes is virtually painless. And on a scale from 1 to 10 on how painful it is, I would say it's a 2, okay? And I recommend this wax to all my friends because it's really that good. And after the first time you use it, your skin becomes used to it, and so you're able to use it just normally. So that's number 1, and that wax is made for you to wax in the under area and on your armpits, anywhere where there's coarse hair. So I recommend that wax super heavily. The next thing we have to talk about is the deodorant that you're using. So most deodorants have chemicals in them which actually cause underarms. And these chemicals include aluminum, things like parabens, and things like that. And so that was another thing that I did that really helped me out, was switching the deodorant I was using. And I'm not saying go for a natural deodorant that doesn't work. I'm saying go for a natural deodorant that does work. So the deodorant that I've been using is this Arm & Hammer one. I'll insert a picture here and another link in the description. But this is the deodorant that I've been using that I've been finding really works and helps my underarms not to be dark anymore. So at the end of this video, if you're struggling with dark underarms, I want you to find an alternative to razors and to change your deodorant to find a deodorant that is more natural. You can see in these photos before, my underarms used to be really dark, and I'm not really showing them that much because I used to not really show my underarms that much because of how dark they were. But after I changed these 2 things, my underarms began to match the rest of my skin. So the next thing and the final thing I want to talk about is your knees and your elbows. So the main cause of your elbows and your knees being dark, besides hormones and genetics and things like that, is by you usually leaning them on hard surfaces or on surfaces in general. So sitting like this, if you find yourself sitting like this, or if you find yourself kneeling on your knees a lot, you will probably find that your knees and your elbows are dark. So this was a really big thing for me because I've been a student athlete all my life, so I used to play pretty rough. And I used to find that I used to use my knees a lot, my elbows and things like that. So just being more aware of not using your knees as pads and your elbows as pads will help out a lot. When you lean your elbows and your knees on surfaces, you're actually causing irritation and a bit of skin damage to that area. So first your skin becomes red and irritated, and over time that area in that place begins to thicken. So you might also, along with your dark elbows and your dark knees, you might also feel that your skin is actually a bit thicker there. And that is because you're putting pressure to that area, which causes the skin to thicken over time. So another thing I did, besides just being more aware of where I'm putting my knees and my elbows, which helped out a little bit, was using just a regular lemon like this, cutting it in half and just rubbing it on my knees and my elbows. And I did that almost daily, but I did see a little bit of a change. Not a drastic change, but a little change, so you could try that as well. So the main thing is to just stop leaning on your knees and your elbows, and I promise you, you will definitely see changes with this. And those were all the things I did to help out with my hyperpigmentation. And my hope for this video was just to help someone else along with their journey, because I know hyperpigmentation, although it seems small, for some people it can be a lot to deal with because it's on places that show. And I know for me, definitely, I was struggling with it, and even in that video you could see I was struggling with it. So my hope is just to help someone out with this video. And if you liked this video, or if you know someone that this can really help benefit, please consider sharing it with that person, or like the video itself, because that helps more people see it, and hopefully it'll help someone else with their journey. And please consider subscribing as well. See you guys in the next one.